What up, everybody? Chef Brian Tsao here, the internet's most passionate sandwich maker. And today on Pro Chefs React, we're gonna do a classic, but also something a little different. I'm gonna be checking out Uncle Roger's reaction of Jamie Oliver's egg fried rice. If this is your first time to the channel, I am a professional chef with 17 years of experience. I've defeated Bobby Flay on the Food Network show, beat Bobby Flay, as well as run the world-renowned kitchen of Beauty in Essex, located right here in New York City. The views and opinions in this show are of my own only. It's meant to be for fun and educational purposes. So with that out of the way, let's get right into it.
Oh, no.
I do want to mention I have watched this before, but it's been a long time. And jam and rice, I agree. No.
Hello, niece and nephew, it's Uncle Roger. Today, Uncle Roger gonna react to this video requested by so many niece and nephew out there.
First off, I want to mention that when I first watched this video, I thought this was legit him. I thought I didn't pay attention to the channel name. I thought this guy was really Uncle Roger and that he was really doing this voice. Found out later he's a comedian from Malaysia named Nigel Ng. My wife is Malaysian, and funny enough, you know, I know this is a gag and say what you will about Asian stereotypes and stuff. I did find this kind of hilarious because there are certain mannerisms he had that reminded me of how sometimes my wife would speak.
It's Jamie Oliver making egg fried rice. Jamie Oliver is professional chef, very established.
Does anyone else notice the
knows.
Yamazaki bottle? Look at that, the Yamazaki bottle in the background. That ain't cheap, and that stuff's hard to find these days.
Uncle Roger thinks this one is gonna be good. I've been to many of his restaurants. Before we start video, niece and nephew, please smack the like button now like you slap a bag.
And you know what? While you're here, why don't you slap the like button as well, like you slap a bag of rice?
Don't make Uncle Roger sad. Smack like button. Now let's start the video.
Egg fried rice, it's an absolute classic, and I've got a
2 seconds into video and I already see saucepan. Hiya, where your wok, Jamie? Where your wok? Egg fried rice need to use wok because you need the wok. Hey, many people.
Number one, I agree. You're gonna make fried rice. Yes, you can absolutely make it in a pan, but there's a lot more technicalities around using a wok versus just having a wok. And he mentioned something called wok hay, which I don't speak Cantonese. My wife does, my father does, I don't. But going back a little bit, he says wok hay. He says where's wok?
Rice need to use wok because you need the wok hay.
Okay, wok hay. The best way I can explain what wok hay is, I think he goes on to explain it, but the way I can explain what wok hay is actually the point of the pan right before the oil hits the smoke point. The smoke point is basically the threshold of the oil where it's highest temperature that the oil can reach before it actually starts to denature. And when it denatures, the oil doesn't function as efficiently or as well as it could. You'll hear smoke point often, like extra virgin olive oil has a lower smoke point versus something like vegetable oil, which will have a much higher smoke point. So that is why you will often find that in fryers, they don't recommend using extra virgin olive oil because it has a lower smoke point. These are just properties about oils that you don't really need to know too much in detail about. But the reason why wok hay is so important as far as Asian cookery goes, and in fact, all cookery, is because you need to know the smoke point of your oil. That really dictates how your end product is going to come out. So something like a wok, not only do you have the cooking vessel, the wok, but also the heat source. And typically, the heat source for a wok is some kind of a high-powered flame, as opposed to, you know, most people will have just a conventional stove that doesn't have those big fiery flames. So you can absolutely hit the wok hay. It will just take longer for you to reach that point on a conventional stove.
Many people asking Uncle Roger, what is wok hay? It is the breath of wok. When you cook with wok, the wok gives the food flavor.
Yes.
Get the wok hay. No such thing as saucepan hay. Jamie, you have
I disagree. There is, you can still get saucepan hay, but the breadth of a wok, that's actually pretty clever and funny. That's absolutely true. There is something about cooking in a wok that cannot be replaced, but I also feel a big part of that has to do with the heat source as well. Now, a lot of woks, the pan itself, the wok itself, the metal is pretty thin, and that gives you, how do I best explain it? It transfers the heat much more harshly, but because of the way the wok's designed, it's meant to be stir-fried and keep, you're meant to keep the food in consistent motion so you won't get burning. But the way I always described it to young cooks is what a wok excels at is giving you something that I describe as micro sears or micro burns. It's such a high, powerful heat source that's being transferred to the food, but because you're constantly keeping it in motion, just in the inherent nature of how the wok is designed, you'll never get a big burnt section on any part of your food. It'll be kind of evenly dispersed, and that's why food cooked in a wok has such a distinctive taste, is because of the wok hay. That trickles down to how the wok is designed, where the heat source is coming from, so on and so forth.
25 cookbook, but you can't afford one wok. Uncle Roger send you one wok for free, Jamie. No problem.
I absolutely love making this recipe. Yes, you could do this as a side dish, no trouble at all. But actually, it's heading towards being a really beautiful dinner. So,
wait,
yes, you could do this as a side dish.
Jamie say egg fried rice is side dish. When Uncle Roger growing up, when my mom make me egg fried rice, that is the main dish.
That is the main dish.
I never tell my mom, oh mom, this egg fried rice is only side dish. Where the main dish? Where the main dish? I would have been beaten to death.
Yeah, same thing would have happened to me.
As this pan gets nice and hot, I'm going to go in with 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
And what? 1 tablespoon of what?
I'm going to go in with 1 tablespoon of olive oil.
Olive oil for egg fried rice? Who use olive oil for egg fried rice? What are you making salad?
I totally agree.
Olive oil is like white people oil, not suitable for Asian dishes like egg fried rice.
And
I agree. In my entire life, I have not seen egg fried rice made with olive oil until this video.
No. Spring onion
right
is
here
garnish.
as well.
It's garnish.
It's garnish. I agree. I have never seen the scallion being sauteed off in the beginning of egg fried rice. That is definitely a big no-no. You know what? I should have mentioned this earlier in the video. I owned a Chinese restaurant myself at one point, and dude, we sold so much fried rice, and not once was the scallion put in at the beginning. Big no-no.
Onion as the last thing in your meal, not the first thing in the frying pan. Hiya.
We'll get them sizzling straight away.
No, you don't.
I'm cracking up at Uncle Roger again. It's not about Asian stereotypes. It's just that, you know, I did grow up listening to Hiya. You know, it's reminding me of a lot of my childhood as well.
Sizzle spring onion. Nobody sizzle spring onion. No. If you cook spring onion now, it will wilt.
Yes.
Wilt.
Yes. And it'll get slimy as well. When you allow it to cook that much at the beginning process of the rice, it will get slimy by the end of it.
Should be garlic. First step should be garlic. This first...
You know, I don't necessarily agree with the garlic part. I honestly haven't seen... You absolutely can. It'll make the fried rice very delicious. But I don't actually commonly see garlic that often. I think that's more of a Southeast Asian thing, which would make sense. Uncle Roger or Nigel Ng is from Malaysia.
3-step all wrong already. I thought you professional chef, you have website and everything. Uncle Roger don't even have website, and Uncle Roger know you fucked up.
And then I've got some packet pre-cooked rice. Yes, you can cook your own.
Oh.
Packet. This guy owns so many restaurants, and he still can't be bothered to make his own rice. Packet rice? Imagine if you go to
In all fairness to Jamie, I think he's trying to show this recipe to the average home cook who, you know, wants a quick, easy meal to put together. You go to you'll find pre-made packaged rice in a Whole Foods and, you know, what else is there in other high-end supermarkets. But regardless, it's pretty common these days to find pre-packaged rice. And, you know, for newbie cooks, people who aren't very experienced, a lot of them don't know how to make rice, even though you should be ashamed of yourself. If you don't know how to make rice, you should be ashamed of yourself.
To Japanese restaurant and you ask for noodle and the chef give you instant noodle. That is what this guy is doing.
And rice, white rice, 12 minutes. But for stir-fried rice, you have to drain it and chill it.
You have to chill it. He correct, but don't drain rice. Uncle
The best fried rice is always made with day-old rice. That's a fact. That I agree with him. But if you need to drain it, that's not a good sign. If you time everything right with the way you add in ingredients, you won't have to drain anything. That to me doesn't make any sense. But always day-old rice is best for making fried rice, and it's because it's a little drier. It'll actually cook a bit more evenly. It won't be your end product won't be as sticky. You'll have a lot of nice rice separation so that when you eat it, it's just a lot more pleasant. And when you use day-old rice, it'll be easier to get it drier. Number one, because it's day-old rice, it's already dried off a little bit. But when you use fresh rice, there's still a lot of moisture, and it's gonna, again, give you a sticky end product, which is not what you want with fried rice.
First thing he got correct.
So for me, that feels like a good cheat. You can hear it sizzling.
You hear sizzling, I hear my ancestors crying.
It's fast, it's hot, it's furious. We're just gonna toss it around. Right, then
Oh, Uncle Roger don't like the look of this. He taking ingredient from this drawer, and this drawer looks so white. Because Asian ingredient never come in jar. You ever notice that? Asian ingredient always come in plastic bag or bad packaging. If your packaging look this nice,
Oh, shit. That's what my cabinets look like. Well, one or two of the cabinets filled with all the Asian products.
Jar, nice bag over there, then it's not Asian ingredient.
next ingredient. I have this in my home all the time now, chili jam. It's
What I tell you, it's not Asian ingredient. What he doing with chili jam? Let's see.
brilliant for cooking. It's got heat, but it's also got the sweetness, and it's going to kind of glaze.
Oh, no, no,
and
no,
help.
no, 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 no.
In all fairness to Jamie, I do agree something like a chili jam would make a good condiment to the rice, but don't put it inside. And also I agree with Jamie, it would add sweetness, but you don't need to do it with jam. A lot of times when chefs in Chinese restaurants or in Asian restaurants make fried rice, they'll put on some kind of soy sauce. This is like a soy sauce base that'll have, you know, it'll be cooked with some scallion and ginger, a little bit of sugar, sometimes some MSG, depending on the place. And that's like your soy sauce base that you use for everything. You don't need to use jam, man. Don't use jam. You can serve that on the side, and if you want to, you know, ruin your rice yourself, go for it. But yes, no, I agree.
This is disgusting. Who put jam? First of all, what is chili jam? Uncle Roger knows fresh chili, chili oil, chili flake. Never heard of chili jam. Is this how
Yeah, my
you
heart
treat
hurts a
white
little
people
bit.
Eating chili. You give them fresh chili, they go.
No, I don't actually like chili.
Give them chili jam and they go.
Oh.
Chili jam is so weird thing to use. Jamie, do you know about sriracha? This is Asian chili. Just use this. No need to use jam. What are you gonna put in there next? Peanut butter. Okay, why do you go make PB&J egg fried rice?
Although ground peanuts on top of some fried rice ain't terrible if you want to go more of like the Thai vibe.
How many things can a chef get wrong in one video? Hiya!
2 nice teaspoons go in to our pan, and then just start tossing again.
He tossed very po, but he tossed all the wrong stuff. All style, no substance.
That'll start to coat every single rice grain, and it will shine in the most beautiful way. And then just give it a little splash of water.
Wait, what?
What the fuck?
What?
No.
In the middle of cooking, you put water. Oh.
That totally
Uncle
goes
Roger
against
say, if
everything
your
I
rice
told
too
you
wet,
guys
you fucked
about
up.
what
But if
makes
your
a
rice
good
too
fried
dry,
rice.
You also fucked up.
At this stage, just push the rice up the side of the pan, like that, and then straight into the middle. We're going to crack in 2 beautiful free-range eggs.
Okay. Okay, the egg looks...
The water thing to me makes 0 sense. That should not be necessary, especially he was using that bagged rice, so that'll be full moisture rice straight out of the packaging. You know why he added water? Because he put in the fucking chili jam. That shit has so much sugar, it's going to caramelize and burn easily. If he wanted that freaking chili jam, it should have been served on the side as a condiment and or put in at the very end, although no one should be putting chili jam in their fried rice. But that's why he needed to add water. He was making this video, he added in the chili jam way too soon. Shit started to caramelize, on the verge of burning. He had to add in water. Now for the eggs, whenever I've made fried rice or watched it made at my old Chinese restaurant, they always did the egg at the very beginning when the wok hits the wok hay. That's the perfect time to add in the egg. The egg will sizzle, it'll break up easily as you use the wok spoon to break it up. And as you work in the rice and everything, all those egg bits will break apart and disperse evenly throughout the product.
Good, egg look good.
And then it's time for the last ingredient, which again, to a lot of people...
He reaching for that shelf again. So Uncle Roger don't think it's gonna end well. Uncle Roger just don't like that shelf. I think it's wrong shelf for egg fried rice. Maybe during filming, they put the wrong shelf there. And Jamie's like, oh shit, you bought the wrong shelf. What I do now? And the filming people are like, we don't care. Just use whatever in the shelf.
People is a bit of a new ingredient. Tofu. Firm, silken tofu.
Tofu?
Fuck.
Why your tofu in
No one puts tofu in fried rice.
juice box? Who make your tofu?
I have no defense for Jamie in that regard. No. Tofu in fried rice.
Pre-sun, when Uncle Roger buy tofu at Asian market, always come in plastic bag, plastic seal wrapping. No tofu look like juice box.
There is silken tofu is often found in a juice-looking container like that. That is actually very common. This is the tofu you'll use for your miso soup. This is like the softest tofu, and I believe they put it in this packaging because it's much stronger than your typical plastic packaging where the tofu's submerged in water. I think it can move around in the packaging and break very easily. So that is why they consciously pack it into those types of containers. I'm gonna take back a little bit of what I said. You shouldn't put tofu into rice. I think I just got really angry for a second. But, if you took firm tofu, cubed it up and fried it up and got it crispy, that actually won't be a terrible addition to a fried rice. But just silken tofu, that's just gonna be a super mushy texture. I'm not a fan whatsoever.
What, are you gonna poke straw and drink your tofu?
Grams. And what
Yep, silken tofu.
is just break this up.
No,
And as
no.
it cooks,
No. He make Uncle Roger put my leg down from
That looks really bad. Sorry, dude.
chair. Baking tofu like how Auntie Helen baked Uncle Roger hot. Asian cooking, when you cook tofu, you preserve the whole shape of tofu and serve to customer. This video, so many sad things happening. He wastes the spring onion. He wet the rice, and now he tear apart the tofu like paper. I don't know if Uncle Roger can go on. This depression is too much.
I want chunks of egg and I want little bits. So the nice thing about this stir-fried rice is it's kind of random.
What he say? What he say?
Random.
The nice thing about this stir-fried rice is it's kind of random.
Random is not compliment. You made food for your friend one day and your friend say, why your food so random? And Jamie say, oh my god, so random. Gonna start restaurant.
Season with a little salt, give it a little toss to
Salt, again, no MSG. But Uncle Roger talk about MSG, too many video now.
mix it all up, and then we're ready to serve. Get a bowl, put a little oil.
This guy loves olive oil like
Putting olive oil in the bowl, I think what he wants to do is put the rice into the bowl, pack it in, and then put it on a plate, invert it, and then you have this nice shaped rice. If his rice was dry, and he didn't add so many things that added moisture like the chili jam, water, tofu, All these things are adding moisture to the rice, and guess what happens to rice when it gets moist? It gets sticky. So that's why he needs to oil it. If he just, you know, didn't add so much moisture to the rice, you wouldn't need to do that step. That's just an extra unnecessary step. And he's using olive oil again.
Our Auntie Herridge love colander. He put olive oil on everything. Do you shower with olive oil also? Don't go get massage from Jamie Oliver. He will put olive oil on your body.
Rice dishes and that kind of street food, which is beautiful, it's often associated with being unhealthy.
That is not street food. That just belongs on the street.
Healthy. This has been made to be healthy.
If by healthy you mean
Just by adding tofu doesn't make it inherently healthy. For, you know, I'm not a nutritionist, but it's rice for goodness sakes. That's all carbs, which, you know, as we know today, carbs aren't necessarily a bad thing. But you don't put tofu in something and just say it's automatically healthy. Hey, you know, he's put chili jam in there. It's got sugar, you know. Yeah, I guess if it makes him sleep better at night, sure.
disgusting, then Jamie, you are right.
You could have that as a meal. I think it's the time to have a little...
Look, you see, look at how moist that rice is. That's why he needs to oil the bowl, because it's so fucking sticky. And it looks just way too moist to me. There's nothing wrong with having a moist food product. In fact, that's typically desirable, but really think about your favorite fried rices. Typically they have a drier texture. How do you cook rice? You have to cook it in water. It's already absorbed a lot of moisture. So the rice will, unless you burnt the shit out of it, it'll be fine. You don't need to add water to it and tofu and, ugh.
This rice looks so wet.
Oh shit.
Look at this.
That's what he said. And you can see how slimy those scallions look. Doesn't look pleasant at all. I'll hold that thought until a little later. Let's keep
You can
watching.
see your reflection inside. Mulan is gonna start singing when she sees this rice.
So silky and delicious. Looks fantastic. And it's really good fun to make.
Okay, how much more?
Jamie is professional.
There's
chef.
another minute
All the
left.
steps he messed up. Does this guy
I think
hate rice or something? What
Nigel
else
just
has he
kind of
done with
gives
rice?
closing remarks. If someone served me this rice, and would I like throw it back at them? No, you know, if someone feeds me, I'm always going to graciously have the food. But if you're telling me like this is your fried rice recipe, boy, you need some work on that game, all right? You need to fix that shit. I don't think it would taste terrible, but there are certain steps that he's missing, or, you know, kind of done in a wrong progression if you really wanted a traditional classic egg fried rice. If he were to present this to me as a dish at my old Chinese restaurant, I would flunk him right away because I wouldn't serve that product. If this is something you're making for yourself at home, sure, you know, why not? It's not, I know it's not gonna taste terrible, but as far as marketing it as, you know, my ultimate egg fried rice recipe, which I don't think that's what the video is titled, but nah, you could definitely find better recipes somewhere else. I do want to mention the whole egg part. I said that, you know, in my old Chinese restaurant, and typically the way I've watched egg fried rice being made, the egg's always cooked at the beginning when the wok hits the wok hei point. However, you know, I've seen a lot of Japanese and Korean egg fried rice preparations where they're actually cooking the rice first, and then they throw in the egg right onto the rice and stir it in that way. I've seen that. My mom typically does it that way. Although when I was growing up and she made me egg fried rice, she literally just took a bowl of rice fresh from the rice cooker, put 2 eggs in there, and you know, called it a day, and that's, you know, that's a meal for you, which I loved. That eggs and rice was one of my favorite dishes growing up. I watched this video a long time ago, and I'm just as equally revolted now watching it today. But I do feel that I do feel Uncle Roger has some valid points. He just kind of delivers it a little bit more comically, whereas, you know, hopefully you'll learn something watching this video and kind of getting some of my insight as far as like some of the culinary lingo and techniques that go behind making something like an egg fried rice. If you enjoyed this video and want to support me further, be sure to check out my Patreon, link in the description below. Also, big shout out to Human Sheep and Dan Perlman for joining on a sous chef level. I appreciate you guys so much. Make sure you let me know in the comments below what you want me to react to next. I am having an absolute blast doing these videos. And until next time, I am Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef, and I'll see you really soon.